Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be counting down the top 10 greatest heavy metal drummers of all time. This is a sequel to a video I did last week here on the channel, counting down the top 10 greatest classic rock drummers of all time, which if you've not seen that video, I will leave a link to it in the description below. You definitely want to check that out. We had a lot of fun with that one. But today I'm doing the sequel, and that is my top 10 favorite heavy metal drummers. So that being said, let's get started with the list here with my number 10. I'm going to go with Charlie Benante from Anthrax, and, Charlie, in my opinion, is one of the greatest thrash metal drummers of all time, characterized with rapid-fire playing, using the double kick technique, as well as popularizing the use of the blast beat in thrash, which is really innovative and cool by him. And, one track in particular that I think really showcases Charlie's playing in the best way is Gung Ho, the closer track to this album here, Spreading the Disease, Anthrax's sophomore album, and it closes off with Gung Ho, which, in my opinion, really showcases Charlie Benante's skills on the drums. Just an incredible performance, really on this whole album, but in general on Gung Ho in particular, really is what I'm trying to say. One of the best performances on the drums from Charlie Benante, in my opinion. Just great stuff, and all in all, like I said, one of the best thrash drummers of all time. Definitely deserving of a spot here on this list, so kick us off with number 10. Gotta go with Charlie Benante from Anthrax. Sticking with those who influenced the thrash metal genre, perhaps no drummer was more influential to the future genre of thrash metal than Philthy Taylor from Motorhead, my number 9 here on the list. He was influential by implementing his double-time kick drum pattern into his playing, which is really important to the thrash metal genre in general, and bands like Megadeth and Metallica looked up to Motorhead and tried to emulate a lot of aspects of their sound, so Philthy Taylor implementing a double-time kick drum pattern, very important to the future thrash metal sound. And Philthy Taylor, somebody who is a member of that classic Motorhead lineup, often imitated but never duplicated. He's played on some of their best albums, including Ace of Spades, Overkill, 1916, Bomber, just to name a few. Just a great drummer, and coming in at number 9 here on my list, gotta go with Philthy Taylor from Motorhead. Coming in at number 8 here on the list, I'm going to go with the late, great Clive Burr, formerly of Iron Maiden. He's somebody who, in my opinion, is one of the greatest new wave of British heavy metal drummers of all time. He drummed on the first 3 Iron Maiden albums and was influenced by blues and jazz. Burr was an intense and aggressive drummer, and he's the man behind that iconic Run to the Hills drum intro, And even though, personally, I prefer Nicko McBrain to Clive Burr as the drummer for Iron Maiden, and, that might be I might be a little bit biased because, Nicko has been in the band a lot longer than Clive Burr was, and he's drummed on a lot more fantastic albums than Clive Burr did, but, I think that Burr definitely deserves to have a spot here on this list for being one of the greatest new wave of British heavy metal drummers of all time, and walking so Nicko McBrain could run as the drummer for Iron Maiden. My pick for number 7 is Gene Hoglan, aka the Human Drum Machine, and, he's called that for good reason, because over the years he's really established himself as one of the premier drummers in heavy metal, and I think a lot of that has to do with his creative style of playing, the way that he implements those lengthy double kick drum rhythms into his playing as well. And it's important to point out that Hoglan can drum at extreme tempos at pinpoint accuracy as well, despite the technically demanding aspect of his playing, which is really cool, and one of the reasons why I love his drumming so much. He's become pretty much a metal journeyman over the years, performing in several different bands, including Testament, Dark Angel, and Deathlock, just to name a couple, and just a fantastic drummer. My number 7 here on the list, Gene Hoglan, who, like I said, has pretty much played everywhere and has a really demanding style of playing, but is one of the best in heavy metal and has really established himself as one of the best over the years, playing in so many different bands, doing great work with all those bands, and for that reason, he's my number 7 here on the list. Following that up at number 6, I'm going to go with the late, great Joey Jordison, formerly of Slipknot. Joey brought unrivaled intensity to the band, to that Slipknot sound, while on drums, and in doing so, normalized the death metal style of double bass drumming into the mainstream in his time with Slipknot. And, also, who can forget the time that he filled in for Lars Ulrich at a Metallica concert and totally upstaged Lars, right? A fantastic drummer, a huge part of that early Slipknot sound, and somebody who unfortunately passed away last year, but who left a great legacy behind him. And what an absolute disgrace it is, by the way, that he was snubbed from the In Memoriam package at the Grammys this year. And, I know the Grammys did apologize, but there's really no excuse for that. One of the best drummers of all time, in my opinion, the late, great Joey Jordison, my number 6 here on the list, formerly of Slipknot. We move on now into the top 5, and my number 5 here on the list is Carey from Tool. One of the most unique drummers in heavy metal. He's characterized by using odd time signatures and polyrhythms in his playing, and he's also influenced by his past jazz experience and expertise, which definitely shines through in his playing. One cool aspect of his playing as well is his reliance on improvisation, which is really awesome. Definitely one of those unique drummers in metal, like I said, and somebody who belongs in the top 5, in my opinion. My number 5 here on the list, Carey from Tool, just a super unique player. My pick for number 4 is Mike Portnoy, formerly of Dream Theater, and, Mike Portnoy is somebody who a lot of people asked for in the comments section of the classic rock drummers video that I did, but I did want to save him here for the heavy metal ranking because of his work in Dream Theater. Portnoy has this epic, complex drumming style, which is the perfect match for Dream Theater, in my opinion, and really fit that Dream Theater sound to a T. And, even though I am a big fan of Mike Mangini and the work he's doing in Dream Theater right now on the drums, I do think Portnoy was the best fit for the band. And, recently Mike Portnoy was spotted in the crowd of a Dream Theater concert in New York City. So, it seems like maybe they have patched things up, and we'll see what happens from there. But I certainly wouldn't want Mike Mangini to lose his job. What would be really awesome, and I wouldn't even put it past Dream Theater at this point, is having 2 drummers. I think that could be really cool. But Mike Portnoy, a great heavy metal drummer, my number 4 here on the list. Such an epic, complex player. Breaking into the top 3 now with my number 3, I'm going to go with Dave Lombardo, formerly of Slayer and now currently the drummer for Testament. And it was just announced recently that Dave Lombardo would be joining Testament, replacing Gene Hoglan, who I mentioned here earlier on the list. And that's really cool, man. And if it's any indication, after Titans of Creation, which in my opinion is the best Testament album in many, many years, I think that these guys are going to do great things together. This group is really, really promising. This is an awesome lineup, and I'm super excited to see what Testament's going to do in the future with Dave Lombardo on board, who is total thrash metal royalty, in my opinion, characterized with those fast drum beats and those creative patterns. He plays on legendary Slayer tracks like Angel of Death, Rain and Blood, Dead Skin Mask as well, and really awesome to hear that he's joining Testament, and I cannot wait to hear what those guys come out with. Going to be really awesome. But we kick off the top 3 here on the list with Dave Lombardo, formerly of Slayer and currently the drummer for Testament. Next, number 2, I'm going to go with Nicko McBrain from Iron Maiden, and, what can I say? He's the drummer for my favorite band, and, when the drum intro kicks in for Where Eagles Dare on Peace of Mind, Nicko really makes his mark on the first Iron Maiden album that he was a part of. Just awesome stuff, great drum intro there, which, like I said, introduced everybody to Nicko McBrain on the drums, signaling there's a new drummer in the band, and he's awesome. And, what can I say? I've seen Maiden a number of times, and Nicko McBrain is even better in a live setting, which is really, really cool. And funny story, I almost caught one of Nicko's drumsticks once. I reached with one hand, I should have reached with 2, maybe I would have caught it, but I dropped it, and, once you drop it, there's a crowd of people already fighting over it, so there's really no point in, getting in the mix there. You're never going to get that drumstick back, but almost caught one of his drumsticks, and like I said, he's great live, and even as Maiden has moved in a more progressive direction over the years, Nicko has really held his own and cemented himself as one of the best drummers in heavy metal history. So for that reason, he comes in here at number 2 on the list. The drummer for my favorite band of all time, Iron Maiden. Gotta go with Nicko McBrain here in the number 2 spot. Before we get to my number 1, I do have a handful of honorable mentions that I want to give out. So honorable mentions here go out to Tomas Haka from Meshuggah, Vinnie Paul from Pantera, Lars Ulrich from Metallica, Nick Menza from Megadeth, and Mickey D from Motorhead and the Scorpions. All fantastic drummers, but I can only fit 10 on the list here today. And finally, coming in at number 1, my all-time favorite heavy metal drummer has got to be Bill Ward from Black Sabbath. Somebody who went on to influence just about everybody in heavy metal, regarded as the godfather of heavy metal drumming. And he's such a hard-hitting and powerful player, but what's interesting about his playing is that he's not as complex as a lot of the other people here on this list. And that's okay, because sometimes less is more, and simplicity is key. And I think Bill Ward's drumming really does shine on, tracks like Symptom of the Universe from Sabotage, and on this album right here, Volume 4, tracks like Supernaut, really great track there that shows off his drumming ability. Rat Salad from Paranoid as well, just to name a few of my favorite tracks in which Bill Ward really, really shines. Just great tracks there, and really just about every track in which Bill Ward appears on a Black Sabbath album, he does a great job. One of the most influential drummers of all time, and super innovative for his time as well. Like I said, somebody who originated that heavy metal drumming sound. Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, my number 1 here on the list, my favorite heavy metal drummer of all time. And like I said, it cannot be understated how much of an influence Bill Ward and really all those Sabbath guys were in the creation of heavy metal. So for that reason, Bill Ward comes in at number 1 here on my list here today. So that wraps up my list of top 10 favorite heavy metal drummers of all time, which should be visible right over here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below. We just recently hit our goal of 400 subs here on YouTube, which I'm really, really proud of, and I'm super happy. Thank you guys so much, new subscribers and old, who have stuck with me, stuck with the channel. I really, really appreciate it. It's such a great feeling, and there will be a 400 subscriber special coming up soon, so I'm pretty psyched for that. And again, thank you guys so much. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Please turn on the bell for notifications as well to be notified of a new upload, and let me know down in the comments below who are some of your favorite heavy metal drummers of all time. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.